Welcome back to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
And on this episode, we're going to talk about not selling yourself short.
That's right.
But before we begin, I'd like to point out that I almost said I'm Kate.
I would have just gone with it.
Before we begin,
Were you struck by lightning or something? Is this like a
literally, it's a Freaky Friday.
Sort of
kind of
situation? It was Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah, it's a Freaky Friday situation. We have to live in each other's bodies and learn that, I don't know.
So we're all kind of just the same.
Yes. All right. What's new? What's the apps? What's going on?
Not a lot since we last chatted
A whole
10 minutes ago.
week ago. Come on.
Right.
Movie magic? Time
Oh my gosh. The willing suspension of disbelief.
Oh my goodness. There we go. That's the one.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hey, it is probably almost the first of the month. Well, it's almost Halloween when this comes out.
Almost Halloween is a stretch. It's like a whole month away.
Almost Halloween.
Do you have a costume picked out? I feel like you do.
No, I don't yet.
Okay. Amazon's calling.
And I love spooky season. Andrea super loves spooky season.
Yes, because Andrea's crafty and she can do anything and everything. And you're willing to put anything on.
This is true. Do you like spooky season? We know we're coming up to it.
Don't care. It's fine. I like scary movies and stuff, but I don't decorate.
We do. We decorate. We go all out for Halloween.
Awesome. Of course you do, but you guys go all out for a lot of things.
Love Halloween. Halloween is probably my favorite holiday.
We were invited to the same party that is just a couple days after Halloween, but it is a Halloween party. Will you dress up for that?
Probably if I see other people that are going to be dressing up, then yes.
Okay.
I will dress up.
I'll do if the situation is right, I'll do a moderately hat costume the day of.
Okay. I'll probably do do you know what Disney bounding is?
No, I'm not a nerd.
So Disney bounding, to be short, is when you go to Disney World, you aren't allowed to dress up like a character. Obviously, for the children, they don't want some drunk idiot to be goofy and mess up the magic, right?
Ooh.
So Disney bounding is when you find an outfit that represents that character but isn't fully that character.
So if you wanted to be Ariel, you'd wear some green pants
and
a seashell situation and put a red wig on.
Exactly. So you're
wearing a blazer, so it's not the real thing.
Right. So you're not you're not really they're not doing full out that costume, but you are
part of that world.
Yes, part of that world. Congratulations. You can hear me sing now. So I might do something like that where it is, but it isn't.
Okay.
Just to be,
I feel like we should dedicate a whole episode to costumes generally in the coming weeks and talk about plus size costumes and things like that. So maybe we should save this one.
That's a great topic for
you
another day.
Yeah. So following suit to our last episode we talked about what do you do when other people outwardly are mean to you and how do you confront them? And I told a story, and if you missed it, you should listen to it because it was a good story.
It's a good story.
Says me. But no, if you missed it, you should listen to it. But one of the things that happened in the telling of the story, particularly at the end, is I made a couple of jokes at my own expense. And I made a joke about being an elephant in the room, that sort of thing. And that is a thing I do all the freaking time. And it helps neutralize the situation. I try to head people off at the pass if somebody's thinking something. If I break that tension and just say it, it makes it easier for everyone. And everybody's on the same page, and we've talked about that before.
We had
masking with humor, and
we had Brian Gotzo on, and we talked about putting in your comedy and things like that.
Absolutely. And that, I can assure you, genuinely does not bother me, because I'm in control,
right?
And anybody who's making jokes that way are friends, and it's all there's
a mutual respect that is happening, and it's not in.
And there's consent.
Yeah.
And so
consent is always key, children.
Now, exactly, in all aspects. So now, in saying that, I thought, wouldn't it be how hard do you have? How hard a time do you have with selling yourself and saying really positive things about yourself, like in scenarios where you have to do that? Like, let's say you had to write a biography for the podcast or something like that, or you have to go on a job interview or or where you really do have to like illustrate that you're a skilled human.
So I always have a hard time talking both negative and positive about myself. Those are always my worst things when it's like we do it yearly at work. We do like that business review of yourself. And I am terrible at finding positive things about me. I'm also terrible at finding negative things. I don't think introspectively often.
Okay.
I don't think about myself in those terms of things. Like,
so what do you think now that we're here, what do you think you're really good at?
You're gonna put me right on the spot.
I am, yeah. No, I think it's important.
I think when I'm in interviews, I do well. So like, I think I'm very good at being open and being approachable. I think that's always something I've been very good at being approachable and being able to have conversations with anyone at any time. I'm always very, very good at that.
Yeah, you are. You're a wonderful human.
Yeah, we'll say a mediocre human.
Except when you say things like you're not listening to me. No, you're a great human, and those are completely fair things. What else do you think you're good at?
I don't know. That's about it. that's where my positivity ends with myself.
What do you think you're really bad at?
God, what am I bad at? Oof. Memory. I have terrible memory at remembering things.
Okay.
I am terrible at remembering things. I am terrible at like making decisions. Unless I'm terrible at making decisions early. That makes sense. I can make if it is like a dire situation, I am snap to can make decisions and do things on the hot fly.
Yeah.
If I have time to prepare and actually make a decision down the line, terrible making those decisions.
That's interesting. Do you get like decision paralysis?
Yes. It's the same issue I have when making food. Is I can stare at a cupboard full of food and a fridge full of food and a freezer full of food and not be able to figure out what I'm having for food.
Can you not stare at it and think, I think I want this?
No.
Interesting. I'm kind of like that too, to be honest, except I never have a fridge or freezer full of food.
Well,
it's mostly driving around going, where am I going to go buy food?
Yeah, that too. What about you? Are you able to talk positively about yourself?
I've actually had to learn how to do that relatively recently because I changed jobs last year around this time and went on a number of job interviews and I've been in a situation recently where somebody kind of rapid fire questioned me the same way I just did to you. I kind of did that to see how somebody else made out. They said, tell me what you're good at. And I was like, well, I'm good with people and I'm good at understanding what makes them tick and really good at using that understanding to push an idea forward and kind of I'm good at bringing people together. Similar skill set to you, actually.
She's good at manipulating people.
Well, manipulation's strong, but yeah, I wouldn't say manipulation. I know you're making a joke, but getting people to do what I want. No. And I kind of stumbled around that. And then they were like, what else? And I was like, and I really struggled with it. And she was like, no, just name things you're good at. You must have skills. I said, well, I'm a good writer. I'm a better editor. Like I said, I'm good with people. And I was trying to think of what else I'm genuinely good at. And I know I have skills.
Yeah. It's right.
And then I was kind of thinking, I was like, I'm a good musician. Not really applicable right now. And I was like, kind of funny, but I was like, are we on a date? I should demonstrate that I'm funny. I don't want to just tell you that I'm funny.
Right.
Yeah, because you may not find me funny. I don't know.
What about negative stuff? How do you?
Oh, it's easy. That's easy. I can tell you exactly. I can tell you. I unlike you, what you said. Not that I'm pointing this out for you. I am very introspective. I think about myself all the time. No, I am very self-aware and very, you know, so one of the things that I'm not naturally good at and have to work really hard to keep things together is organization.
That ADHD.
I think, you know, the more I think about that, things just line up. But my fear of letting people down kind of usurps that lack of organization, and like I have to be really deliberate in how I go about life, because and the other thing that I think is will let me down someday, and mostly hasn't yet, but has come close a couple of times, is I have a really great memory. And I say, and that is a positive thing, except, you know, what I was talking about in the last episode where I dwell on things and never forget them. So if somebody says something mean to me, it's there for life. But at the same time, that's how I've been able to manage poor organization skills, is that I have a fantastic memory and traditionally have not had to write things down to keep on top of them. Now I'm getting to an age, like my 30s, I'm just joking, my 41 now, where that is, I haven't seen real evidence of slipping yet, but it's coming. And like, I struggle with names more than I used to, and I can start to see the things not work anymore. So
you hear that, Nigel? She's not good at names anymore.
Nigel, can you hear me? No, I'm still pretty good at them, but I'm still better than Nigel. But come on. And so, you know, but I am starting to be more aware of those signs and like writing things down and utilizing those electronic means. Like you have a physical book calendar to keep things straight.
Yes.
I keep my work calendar and my personal calendar way more up to date than I once had to.
My work calendar is always up to date. So yes,
yeah.
My personal calendar is the one Andrea keeps.
Right.
So why do you? And I think I already kind of know the answer to this, but why do you think it's harder to come up with positive things?
Oh, because I think the reason is twofold. One of the things I'm most afraid of sounding is boastful.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want anybody to think that I am bigger than my britches or think really highly of myself, because I find that an unlikable quality in people. And there's a fine line between like confident people and people who are boastful.
Yep.
And it's a line that I try to veer so far away from, that I probably go too far away from it and stop appearing confident.
That's fair.
And the second reason is sometimes I struggle to feel those positive things.
Yeah, I get that one. I think my biggest problem is I just don't think introspectively at all. I never really think about myself. You
think about others and like their qualities and what they're good at and what they're bad at.
Yeah, I think I do that often. I do that with my job a lot. That's
sure.
It's basically my job. But
do you know what you're good at in your job?
No, God, no.
You don't. Are you ever surprised, like during performance reviews and stuff?
Oh, always.
You're surprised.
Always.
Oh, I can tell you what people are going to say based on interactions that we've had. It's very rare that I've been completely surprised. And when I've been completely surprised, it's usually something out of left field.
I'm always surprised I get positive feedback.
Really?
Yeah, I'm always think I'm doing terrible at my job.
Oh, weird.
And I'm always surprised when I get positive feedback on things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really challenging.
Yeah, it's something that through my therapist, we talk about it often, about my lack of positivity in my job.
Huh. Because it's funny, we talk about safe spaces. Generally, I've always felt like my job is a thing where I would excel because I care deeply about that, and that is my jobs in my life so far have been such a huge part of my identity that me faltering on that has really detrimental effects on me. And so I struggle with the interpersonal and with the like out of job stuff, but in job, I know what I'm good at, and I know where I struggle, and I know where I need to work, and I know what people are generally going to say on a performance review, and I work hard to, and I'm a super people pleaser. So that kind of in turn makes me a decent enough employee in most settings. Now, when things get shaky in jobs, which they have more recent, like not super recently, not in current role or anything, that really has a detrimental effect on my mental health.
Yeah, I think that I'm kind of a little bit that personally. If things start getting shaky in my personal life, definitely. In work, I always think I'm doing a terrible job.
You're just expecting it.
So
Like, oh,
yeah.
have you ever been fired?
No,
Me neither.
but I just always think I'm doing a terrible job, even though
And you've been in the
Yes, I
same
know.
job for quite some time.
yeah, that's 13 years.
And you have bosses that are saying, no, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, no, I've moved up in the company multiple times in those 13
But
years.
you still think you're,
But I still think I'm
so
doing
you
it.
literally have evidence proving that you're not doing a bad
But
job.
I still think I'm always doing a bad job.
Now,
I
do
think
you,
I'm failing upwards.
you think people are talking about you behind their back and stuff?
Oh yeah,
They aren't.
there are definitely directors that do talk about me behind my back. I have seen
Okay.
conversations.
Why
I
have you?
don't
How,
like that director specifically.
okay. So you have an interpersonal issue with one person.
Yes.
Okay, that's a different thing than than imagining that everybody hates you.
No, I just don't think I do well in the job.
But you have evidence that you do.
But I just don't think I do. I think I should be doing better than what I'm doing.
Oh, is it because you're so confident that you feel like you're capable of more than you're doing?
Maybe.
And will your boss listen to this?
Listen, I think one of my bosses does listen to
Oh, that's awesome. Hi, Isaiah's boss.
one of my like 4 bosses. But
Write in. Tell us what you think. I'm just joking.
can you put my performance review in the YouTube?
In the YouTube. Actually, that's how you should deliver this year.
But yeah, I outside of work, I don't know. I don't think about myself at all.
No, are you surprised? Like, do you think people like you?
Yeah, I think I
They do.
yeah.
I'm not like, do you really think people like you?
This has been the longest con ever. Episode 81. Let me tell you about everyone hates you.
Because I'm the opposite, where like I generally am most of the time confident in what I'm doing. If I feel like I failed at work, like if I've made a mistake or something like that, I'm miserable. But I always am surprised when somebody likes me.
So I'm always very confident in everything I do. I don't think I'm doing it well, but I am stupidly confident, and I think that's what gets me by.
That's cool.
I think
Like that false bravado.
yes. I think it's that fake it till you make it. I've just been faking it the entire time.
So like real imposter syndrome stuff.
yes,
Cool.
very much so.
It's been a really interesting episode for me. I don't know if it's interesting to listen to.
I don't know. I have a false confidence, I feel, or
Okay.
at least myself. I feel like I'm just, and that's why that's how I live my life in general, is just be confident and then figure it out.
Hilarious. That's excellent. I love this. Oh, that's really interesting, Isaiah. I wonder how other people feel. If other people are listening and want to weigh in on this, like feel free to comment, or if you want to just send one of us a message, that'd be cool too. I'm just really curious how other people feel about themselves, like at home, in their job.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting, and yeah, I'd like to know how other people feel about themselves, and whether your at home self is reflective of your work self. Because like
Right.
like you said, you're very positive in your work, but when you're not at work, you're a little bit more negative.
Yeah,
right?
not negative. I'm just
It's less.
less confident.
Yeah,
I'm less confident socially than I am in my skill set at my job.
yeah.
Depending on which job I'm doing, they're like, yeah.
And I just always overly confident to the point where I think I'm terrible at everything.
Oh, it's so weird.
How is that weird?
I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, it's not computing in my brain.
Well,
But that's why I'd like others to weigh in.
Yeah. No.
I mean, and I'm not negating how you feel about yourself. Like,
yeah.
feel your feelings.
My psychiatrist is gonna have lots to talk about next week.
Just player the episode. This is your homework before we have a session.
Oh goodness. But do you have any thoughts, any feelings before we wrap this one up?
I don't think so. I just if you do struggle. Oh, I do have one more thing. I used to really struggle with being confident in myself at all when I was younger, and when I was in university, I nearly I ended up having to go see a psychologist because I needed a note to get out of a course that I wanted to withdraw from a course after the withdraw date. And it ended up being really useful to me because I found out that I was so down on myself that this psychiatrist, Bruce Webster was his name, psychologist, I mean, I didn't mean to give him a medical degree there, did this thing with me. He said, name 3 things you hate about yourself. And I said 3 things. I don't remember what they were, but they rattled them off like it was nothing. He said, now name 3 things that you like about yourself. And I couldn't say a thing. Like I couldn't come up with one thing at 20 years old or something. I couldn't say one thing that I liked about myself. And then he asked me to think of the person I hated most in the world. And I did. And I asked me why I didn't like them. And I explained that they bullied me, whatever. And they were pretty mean to me. And he said, now say 3 positive things about them. I said, well, they're this, that, and the other thing. I could rattle 3 off. And he said, now say 3 negative things about them. And I was like, well, they've had a tough upbringing and they have reasons for being the way they are. And he said, you mean to tell me that you rattled off 3 really negative things about yourself, that you couldn't use those same words against the person you hate most in this world? Do you see the problem here? And then he started talking to me about positive self-talk and stuff, which is part of me is still like, this is bullshit. But he made me do this thing where he held out my arms to my sides and said, he finally made me come up with 3 things that I liked about myself. I was like, well, I don't know, I have a nice smile, and I guess I'm smart, and I don't know, make some good jokes sometimes. I don't know what I said, whatever I said. And he said, now repeat, I'm smart, over and over and over again. I was like, okay. And he's like, and then he tried to push my arm down and it wouldn't go down. Now say, I'm fat and ugly, I'm fat and ugly, I'm fat and ugly, over and over again. And he just pushed it down like it was nothing. And it was like a weird, I couldn't believe that it was happening because it's like, I recognize what's happening here. But I tell you, some of that positive self-talk does work if you're feeling kind of blue. I don't know. I struggle with it. So take that for what it's worth. That's my final thought on that. Do you have any final thoughts?
I mean, I think we all are much more apt to see the negative stuff in ourselves than the positives. I think that's just how we are mostly built. It, like you said before, it feels almost like you're not supposed to be positive to ourselves because it feels like you're, what was the word you used?
Like boastful.
Yeah, you're boastful or being arrogant. But sometimes you got to be positive to yourself. It's very good to be positive to yourself.
And sometimes it's nice to tell people what you're good at.
That too.
Because sometimes you need to.
Right. And
you might be in a position, just some of us haven't stayed in the same job for 13 years and been promoted several times.
Whatever. But let's wrap this on up. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on TikTok at Fat Caitlin, at Kate D on Instagram. We're at Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook. What about you?
And I am at Maritime Brews on all of the social medias. We still have our Buy Me a Coffee going if you want to help donate to that. And if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast, you can comment, share, subscribe on there. Or if you want to watch the video, you can hop on over to YouTube. And anyone listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, if you can also share, subscribe, comment, it goes a long way to helping us out. We appreciate that. And we appreciate you sticking around. This is episode 81.
What?
I know, right? Almost getting there. Almost to 2 years. Getting there.
Crazy.
But until next week. Bye.